Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. Ready to dive into something a little unexpected?
Oh, I love the unexpected. What's on the docket today?
Well, we're going to tackle arguing.
Arguing sounds intense.
You can be, but think about it, arguing, especially in English. We're taking a look at this YouTube video from Daily Native English, all about how to, argue confidently,
Rip.
especially if, like, English isn't your first language.
That's a really interesting angle. I mean, so much emphasis is placed on grammar and vocabulary when learning a new language.
Right.
But arguing effectively, I mean, that takes a whole other level of mastery. It really does.
I was thinking about that too when I watched the video, and it even starts with this story, right, about this person who's like crushing it at work, super competent, but when it comes to meetings, to like defending their ideas, they freeze up because they're not a native English speaker. And I was like, oof, I felt that. How many times have we all, even in our own language, like avoided speaking up just because arguing can feel so intimidating?
Oh, all the time. Absolutely. It's almost like we're conditioned to see arguments as confrontational, something to avoid at all costs.
Yeah.
But what if we flip the script?
Right.
What if we thought about it as like confidently expressing your viewpoint?
Yeah.
Suddenly it's a skill, a superpower, that could be so beneficial at work, in your studies, just in life in general.
Yeah, I love that. It's like unlocking this secret communication superpower. And that's what I really liked about this video. It actually gives us a structure, something concrete to hold on to like sound clear and confident.
Right.
The PRP method.
PRP. Tell me
All
more.
right. So PRP stands for get this point, reason, example, point.
Okay, I see where this is going.
It's brilliant. It's like this framework to organize your thoughts and present them persuasively. Like, let's say you're arguing for something like mandatory recycling,
Right.
right? Your point would be, I think recycling should be mandatory,
Yeah, that's straightforward.
right? Then you need to give a reason. So you'd say something like, because it reduces waste and helps the environment.
Okay, so far so good. Laying out the foundation.
Exactly. And then to make your argument even stronger, you'd bring in an example. Like, for instance, in cities like San Francisco, recycling programs have cut landfill waste by like 50%.
Yeah, bringing in the data. Love it.
Right. And then finally, you'd wrap it all up, restating that main point. That's why I believe recycling should be mandatory.
So it's like you're coming full circle, starting with your stance, backing it up, and then driving that point home again.
Exactly. And you know what I love about it? Especially if you're still getting comfortable with English. It's like a roadmap. Keeps you on track. And you could adapt it for all sorts of situations, like asking for a raise,
Yeah.
convincing your friends to try a new restaurant, anything. But then, there's also this whole other aspect, like how to make sure you're coming across professionally, especially at work.
Right. You bring up a crucial point. It's not just about what you say, but how you say it, especially in those more formal settings.
So
You don't want to come across as aggressive, even when you're, super passionate about what you're talking about.
right. It's not about attacking. It's about, like, respectfully, confidently getting your point across.
Exactly. And the video had some great advice for that too, like using phrases that kind of soften your delivery, without actually weakening your argument. Like instead of just saying, I disagree, you could say, I see your point, but, or I'd like to add that.
Ooh, I like those. It immediately feels like more collaborative and less like a head-to-head battle.
Right.
Oh, what about could we consider another perspective or like what if we approached it this way? Like opening up the conversation, making it more productive.
Yes. It shifts the tone from a debate, where there has to be a winner and a loser, into this collaborative effort to find the best solution, the best approach.
Okay, so we've got a structure, we're being polite, but something feels like it's still missing.
Yeah.
How do we make those arguments truly convincing? Like how do we back up what we're saying?
That's where the evidence comes in. You're right. You can't just rely on opinions. You need solid facts, solid examples to support those claims you're making.
It's like going to court.
Right.
You need more than just your word.
Exactly. You need that proof. And the video gives us some really useful phrases to introduce that evidence smoothly, like according to recent studies, or for instance, in a similar situation.
Okay, I see. So, like, let's say you're advocating for a flexible work policy.
Yeah.
You could say, research shows that hybrid work increases productivity by like 20%.
Boom. There you go.
Mm.
Now you're not just sharing an opinion, you've got data on your side. That can make a huge difference, especially in those professional settings.
That's so powerful. You're not just saying what you think, you're showing why it matters.
Exactly. Using that evidence effectively elevates your argument, makes you so much more persuasive.
Love it.
But, okay, so let's say you've done all your prep, you've got your structure down, you're feeling confident, and then bam, someone hits you with a counter argument.
Oh, yeah, it's like a curveball, right? Like, you're so carefully building this argument, this tower, and someone just comes in and tries to knock it down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how do we handle those gracefully? Because that can really throw you off.
What does the video say? How do you stay, cool and collected when that happens?
Well, first, it's about acknowledging the other person's perspective, right? Like not just dismissing them outright. You can say something like, that's a valid perspective, but, or I understand your concern, however.
So you're showing them that you've heard them, like you respect their opinion, even if you don't necessarily agree with it.
Exactly. And then after you acknowledge their point, you can kind of gently reassert your own stance. You could say something like, even so, the data still supports, or, but I believe this approach works better
So
because...
it's like verbal judo, almost.
Yes,
You're redirecting their energy instead of, like, fighting against it head on.
I love that. Verbal judo. That's a great way to put it.
But what if? What if you need a minute, right? Like sometimes a counter argument can really throw you and you need a second to like gather your thoughts. Is that okay?
Absolutely. And the video actually recommends that. Don't be afraid to just take a pause. A simple, let me think about that, can give you the space you need, to breathe and to formulate that strong response.
I love that. It shows that you're taking it seriously. You're not just like brushing it off, but you're actually considering what they're saying, which honestly can make you seem even more confident and in control.
Exactly. It's like you're in the driver's seat of the conversation. You're setting the pace.
Okay, so we've got all these amazing tips, right? But how do we actually like get better at this? How do we practice arguing effectively in English?
Well, the video has a really interesting suggestion, and it's surprisingly simple. Debate with yourself.
Wait, like actually arguing with the voice in my head?
Pretty much. It sounds silly, I know, but
Yeah.
but it's a fantastic way to practice, right? To get used to structuring your arguments, thinking on your feet, trying out those persuasive phrases.
I could see how that would be helpful.
Like the video uses the example of school uniforms, right? Should they be mandatory or not? It's a classic debate topic.
Oh, I remember arguing about that in high school.
Exactly. So you could start by taking one side. Let's say you're arguing for uniforms. You could say, uniforms create equality among students. They reduce the pressure to wear, like, expensive clothes. And you could even back it up with something like, studies even show that students in uniform tend to focus more on their studies.
Oh, wow. I'm like already getting flashbacks to those debates.
Right, and then you switch sides. Now you're against uniforms. You could say, uniforms stifle self-expression. Students should be able to, like, showcase their individuality through their clothing.
I love this. Even a topic that I like thought I had an opinion on.
Mm-hmm.
It's making me see it from a different perspective.
Right. And then you could even bring in another point. In schools without uniforms, kids develop their own personal style and confidence.
It's like a mental workout for your brain.
Exactly. And the great thing is you don't have to limit yourself to these serious topics. You can debate literally anything like pineapple on pizza, best type of music, cats versus dogs, whatever gets you thinking.
That's way more fun than my usual internal debates about what to eat for dinner.
Right. But it brings us to another important point from the video, which is that content is only half the battle. It's also about how you deliver your argument.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Like, you could have the most brilliant, well-researched argument, but if you're, mumbling or speaking a mile a minute, it's going to lose its impact.
Yeah.
The video actually highlights pacing as one of the key factors.
Interesting. Oh, yeah. I definitely speed up when I get nervous.
Yeah.
What are some tips for slowing down and speaking more clearly?
Well, one of the things the video suggests is practicing with a timer. So, give yourself, say, 30 seconds to explain a point and really focus on enunciating each word.
Okay.
They even give you a phrase to practice with. I believe technology has improved education by providing access to global resources, such as online courses and virtual classrooms.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
And honestly, I can already tell, even just thinking about doing that, it forces you to slow down.
Right.
But the video also mentioned body language, which honestly, I hadn't even really thought about before.
Oh, yeah, that's a great point. And it's especially important in those face-to-face conversations, right? Things like eye contact, hand gestures, they can add so much to your argument.
So like holding up a finger when you're making a point,
Yeah.
or using your hands to show emphasis.
Exactly. These nonverbal cues can make you a much more dynamic and engaging speaker, even if you're not speaking in your native language.
Right, right. And it could also help with confidence too.
Absolutely.
Like if you project confidence physically, maybe your brain kind of catches up.
Fake it till you make it.
Exactly.
Sure.
But let's be real. Nerves are still going to happen, especially when you're speaking in a second language. Like any advice for those pre-argument jitters?
Well, one thing the video suggests is like having a few go-to phrases ready, for those moments when you start to feel flustered.
Oh, like a cheat sheet almost.
Yeah. Like something like, that's an interesting point, but I'd like to offer another perspective. Or, while I understand your argument, I think there's another angle to consider.
It's like having a secret weapon in your back pocket.
Right. And it buys you some time to, gather your thoughts, regain your composure. And honestly, even just knowing that you have those phrases ready, it can boost your confidence going into those situations.
Yeah, totally. It's like
Yeah.
that feeling of like, okay, I've got this.
Exactly. And remember, the more you practice all of this, the less intimidating these situations become. Whether you're practicing with a friend, in front of a mirror, even just in your own head, every little bit helps.
That's so reassuring. It's not about being like a perfect debater right out of the gate.
Hmm.
It's about getting more comfortable with expressing yourself
Yep.
clearly and confidently.
Yes.
So what does this all mean for you listening? Like, why does this matter? It's not just about winning debates, right?
No, absolutely not. It's about so much more than that. It's about expressing yourself clearly, building credibility, making your voice heard in any situation, at work, in your personal life, even just casual conversations.
I loved how the video put it. They said that every time you practice these skills, whether it's debating something serious or just having a playful argument, like your favorite movie, you're actually taking a step closer to mastering English and succeeding in all these different areas of your life.
It really is all connected, isn't it?
Yeah. So here's a challenge for everyone listening. Pick one thing, just one, from everything we talked about today and try it out this week. Maybe practice the PRP method with a friend or try debating with yourself while you're doing the dishes. Even just jot down a few of those confidence-boosting phrases. You might be surprised how much it helps.
And remember, it's about progress, not perfection. Just keep practicing, keep learning, and have fun with it.
That's it for this deep dive into the art of arguing in English. Until next time, keep those minds sharp, those voices strong, and those arguments respectful. Happy debating, everyone.